This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning and welcome to Guardian Radio AM. Today is Tuesday, July 11th, and it's a little after 11 o'clock in the morning. Once again, this is C.A. Newry, and I shall be your host today as we discuss the birth of a nation. 50 years plus 1 day. Right? I want to have a sober conversation today. I want to have a sober conversation as where we stand as the Bahamas. What are we doing? And how we should be looking at ourselves, right? In 1967, the Bahamas was trying to break through a glass ceiling, a thick glass ceiling, a unsurmountable glass ceiling. And that's when they broke through and had majority rule, where they proved that democracy reigned inside of the Bahamas, and that one man had one vote, and that democracy proved supreme. That was 1967, when the Bahamas, and by extension the entire nation, got exuberant, excited, joined a movement of change. A revolution took place in 1967. I think Doris Johnson called it a quiet revolution. In 1973, there was another revolution where there was euphoric excitement by the Bahamian populace yet again, to say that they saw a barrier. They saw a glass ceiling, a thick glass ceiling that they could not surmount. They could not break through. And that glass ceiling was the shackles of being governed by United Kingdom. So they pushed through. The Bahamians joined that movement for change, and said that we believe in self-direction. We believe that we can govern ourselves. We will move towards independence, the act of governing themselves. So that movement happened. In this Bahamas, there's a feeling of another glass ceiling. Right? And this glass ceiling, a number of persons are thinking that it's the political class, this new generation of those persons who have adopted the ways of the yesteryears and have created a glass ceiling that the average Bahamian feel as if they cannot feel the equality. They don't get in their slice of the pie. They are being treated unjustly. In fact, they are crying for a revolution of change. Some people say, what you mean? We are finally free. That's what the song says, 1973, we are free. What do you mean there's a glass ceiling? At this present time, there are many, maybe the majority of Bahamians, who would say that if you do not join one of these political parties, you ain't gonna get nothing. If you don't go and bend and kowtow and kiss the ring of whoever political party is in charge, you will not get anything. You will be shared out. We stop and watch and see the national honors and see who perpetually, every year, get honored. The same names tend to sometimes recycle itself and say, but didn't that person get an award or recognition 10 years ago, 20 years ago, last year? They're getting recognized again because they belong to a particular ilk. So my question today, the discussion today, the sober discussion I want to have, is there space for a change Bahamas? A change Bahamas where there's not only two political parties who tend to exchange amongst themselves, who pretend that they're angry at each other, that they are an alternative for each other. But after the row in the House of Assembly, They call each other for coffee and tea. They are godparents to each other's children. And you find out that they're actually one in the same. The same type of Bahamians, after the same type of Bahamian dream, sharing the same Bahamian pride amongst themselves, making no space, no room for us, the rest of us, the working class, the average people. That no matter how much education I have, no matter how much skill and success I have, that if I do not go to them and beg, please, can I get a piece of this too? Can I join your political party so I can get access? So I can get access to the resources? Can I get access to whatever it is that the Bahamas has? I want to know, 50 years plus one day, is there space for a third party? A third party that has a different agenda, and not the agenda to protect a political class who would share the spoils of the Bahamas amongst themselves, but a different type of governance where the Bahamian people just get more. And that's what I want to have my discussion today. And of course, in order to have this discussion, right, I asked Erin Green to stay back, right, so she can explain one or two words, because I have her as the intellectual, the one who thinks these things out, especially when I ask for definitions. And early in her show, I asked her to explain the difference between independent and independence. And I thought everyone knew what independence and independent is. But there's a number of frustrated Bahamians who had boycotted the National Independence Day ceremony because they felt as if they're not being shared in, that they are being shared out. And they didn't want to pretend to say that they are independent. And I'm trying to say that independence has nothing to do with your thoughts about independent. Independence is self-governance, how you govern yourself. And clearly, as a nation, the birth of this nation, we have and can celebrate independence like any other country. So I want to put that too. I want to also mention that whilst we celebrated our Independence Day, independence from colonialism, independence from being governed by a minority group, independence by people who do not understand the culture of the Bahamas, who do not understand the history of the Bahamas, the makeup of the Bahamas, the construct of the Bahamas in terms of the street names, the family names, on whence we came. We had an honor ceremony that, and I smiled because I understood why it was done, because I think it was a political move. I think it was a move to make the foreign people see us as we celebrate ourselves, to herald our accomplishments of what we have accomplished thus far, right? We saw it as an opportune time to celebrate, to honor foreigners. And some people say, man, Newry, why would you say that in such a prestigious time? Why would you demean the significant honor for some worthy international people who came down to help us celebrate? And I'm saying, I'm not saying that they should not have been acknowledged and celebrated. And by this, I mean Congresswoman Maxine Waters. And by this, I mean President Paul, let me see how I can pronounce his name. The Rwanda president. What is his name? How do you pronounce his name? Kagame, right?
I pronounce it Kagame.
Right? I'm not saying that they should not be recognized. But this ceremony was supposed to be about us, whence we came. And they said, no, but they've done so much for the Caribbean. I'm like, we're in with the Caribbean. But they have been done so much for the Bahamas. And I said, people do things for the Bahamas for their own political expedience. But this ceremony is about us. I understand what Africa doing and whatever it is. But this is about us. Let's honor them separate and apart. But anyway, that's just me. But I'll bring in Erin Green because she have her hands up like the school. Because
I ain't a PM now. I acknowledge, I apologize. I corrected myself.
You weren't even invited to none of the parties. You aren't significant. No. This is one of the things I want to discuss, the feel of angst that we do not matter. that all of this happenings, the Niagara Fall would have the pretty colors for them people to see. Mm-hmm. This what that statue is, that big statue.
The Empire State Building.
The Empire State Building, all aquamarine and gold and black for them people to see. And I'm saying, but I want to celebrate me, my significance, my contribution to this nation birth. I want to hear about my daddy, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, my mommy. Mm-hmm. I want to hear about their contribution. I want to recognize them. Mm-hmm. I don't really care about what y'all doing over there. But that's just me. Now, again, I'm not saying that these people weren't noteworthy of being recognized. I just said not now. Not when we have Bahamians who are vexed about sleeping in cars. That we have potholes on every street.
Yeah.
That when you look at my rod inside the car, it crack. And I got it changed, and I said, "This is best."
That some people are afraid. You know, we have these little joke. We used to joke about people who have mental health issues and they have to go to Sandilands. Now people joke to hide their fear about having to go to PMH. Right? It's the Golden Jubilee. Why aren't we focusing inward? Why are we focusing outward? Right? Now, what I learned was that Maxine Waters' husband is a former ambassador.
Yes, Williams.
Right, and she has a intimate relationship with the Bahamas. I thought it was SBF. I can be honest with you. I thought it was SBF, but apparently, right, that's why Miss Waters was honored.
See, the award, and let me say what she got honored. She received an Order of Excellence. I think only 2 people got the Order of Excellence.
4.
4.
Lynn Gape, Kagame.
Yes.
Waters.
Paul Kagame.
And
Maxine Waters.
I got that, pulling it up right now. And Mrs. Erica Gates posthumously.
Yes.
Right? Miss Nina Lynn Gape, Paul Kagame, Maxine Waters. Those are the 4 that got. 4. Yeah.
And again, like I said, I'm not diminishing that these were 2, and I'm talking about the foreign persons, aren't 2 significant people, you know. I'm just saying that these honors, this ceremony should have been about us.
Here's what's missing from the entire thing. There are no bios.
There you go. I was going to talk about that.
There are about 200 names on this list, easily. I use PLP math to count that, but still, there's plenty of names on that list. Mm-hmm. And there's no bios. There's no link to information. There's no title. There's no keyword that I could use to find the history of this person, to understand why they were included on the list and in the particular honor that they were given. Oh.
You don't deserve a bio, Aaron.
No, I deserve.
And so let me bait you here. Let me bait you here. No Bahamian deserve a bio to understand why. And if they did deserve a bio would have been given.
Here's why a bio is important. See, because a person like me, I'm gonna ask the question.
Why?
Why did you honor? Hold on. Why did you give
Kagame? You question my prime minister, though.
The prime minister. Is the prime minister alone making this decision?
I don't know who makes this decision.
Because then it's the prime minister could honor who he wants, but just don't call it the national honors. Kagame. Why are we honoring Kagame?
President Kagame.
No, okay. Protocol being established. His Excellency, Paul Kagame of the Republic of Rwanda. Why is the Bahamas government honoring him in particular? See, here's what pops in my mind. When you don't give me a bio to fill my head, here's what filled my head. The Bahamas government went to the U.S. Caribbean Summit of the Americas 2022, came back, and the Prime Minister emphasized that the Bahamas government did not sign the U.S. Caribbean Migrant Plan. But then you turn around and you honor Kagame, who, if not should be known, right, as one of the, what you call them, progenitors. He has brought forth the UK Rwanda Migrant Plan. Right? Why are we honoring him?
Because he is a trailblazer in Rwanda in terms of what he's doing. And that he's now an example for us on what we can be.
You mean like how he created a law that said that you can't run a church unless you are an ordained, degreed minister? Unless you're a professional pastor, you can't run a church? If that's the reason, see what I'm saying? Give me a bio. If that's the reason why, I say bingo. We honored the right man.
And I see we have a call
But hold
here,
on. Okay,
Aaron.
I know we got called.
No, I can let you
a couple
talk.
other people on the list I want to just mention.
Yes, and I can let you mention
Yeah,
it right
yeah,
now,
yeah,
right
yeah.
after the caller.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I want to say that I jest with you when I said you didn't deserve to have a bio, right? But when you are honoring foreign people, shouldn't you bring it to the public like a week before and say, by the way, we plan to honor these people, and these are the reason why? Do we deserve that as a nation of 50 years old?
Yes, we deserve
and
it.
Free.
Yes, we deserve it. Did I expect it? No. Do I deserve it? Yes.
I want you to leave the list, but let me just go to this caller. Producer, patch that caller through. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Pleasant good morning, Mr. Newry.
Good morning. How you doing?
And Miss Green.
Morning, sir.
And happy birthday and happy 50th anniversary, Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Newry, I know you like to cut me, but I want you to do me a
Go ahead.
favor. Do me a favor this morning. Let me listen to this a moment so I can talk this independence.
If you make it short, I will do it. But if it's
I
not
can't
short,
do it short.
then
You take
you
it out.
know you're going to
If
get
you
cut.
say-
I just
Hello.
warned you beforehand that if it's not short, you can get cut.
Oh, okay, let me ask you. You remember all them avocado trees in my yard?
Yes.
Boy, they loaded down, especially them long 12-inch ones, them Russell pear. You remember how you carry so much bags from here last time?
I do, but you need
you're
to stay,
welcome. You're
keep
welcome
this,
to come back
keep
to
this
get some more
concise
this
because
time.
I still can cut you.
Yeah, but see, you can't just cut me and then come get my avocado.
Why not?
But anyway, yeah, but you can't be niggly like that.
You do know Ackland's people.
But anyway, what I wanted to say is, with all the honor and the thing, I agree with Ms. Green. Because, I saw things happening in my country. I saw the Bahamian people went all out to dress and party the best way they could. I saw the Governor General dress like a real Bahamian in real Bahamian colors, and I saw our Prime Minister dress in nice Caribbean shirt, not no big suit with coat and tie and thing. I saw them being Bahamian. I saw them showing Bahamian. But what I don't understand is when it comes to the foreigners and so forth, we honoring all the foreigners and Bahamians, and the ones we honoring, like Ms. Green said, you don't want to give us a bio. So we hear some of the names, but we don't remember what they did. And I could say something when it comes down to this, like this, Ms. Green. After 65 years of the Valley Boys being there, I haven't heard them honor my mother who started the Valley Boys.
There you go.
I haven't heard my mother's name mentioned, and I say that not out of anger, but that's my mother who originally started the Valley Boys off by giving them the first sponsorship. And to this day, she's never been honored. And all kind of people younger than her, who died in 1966, has been the government house and been up on Bay Street and been honored and this and that and the next. And we talking about 50 years of anniversary.
Sparky, before I cut you, has the Valley Boys ever honored your mother?
The Valley Boys told me from Gus Cooper, I'm telling you what happened. They told me Gus Cooper was going to do it. He took sick and got ill.
So
Brian Adley told me
the Valley Boys has
Brian
yet,
Adley told me
Sparky,
3 years ago
the
he
Valley
was going to do
Boys
it
has
this year.
yet to honor your mother.
They said they was going to do it this year, but they have not done anything yet.
So I can conclude, just me, the Valley Boys have seen no value in what your mother did.
They do say they admit it, you know.
No.
They
I
admit
want to know
it,
what
but
they've
they
done.
keep
I
saying
just
they're
want
going
to know
to
what
do
they have
something.
done. I just want to know
tell
what
them
they've
not
done.
for me, for the people who deserve to be honored in this country. They honor some friends, families, and lovers, but they forget the people who are supposed to be honored in this country.
And I appreciate Sparky.
I heard the king. I heard the king telling us but all that the Bahamian people did for him and his mother. The many years they visited the Bahamas, over the many years leading up to his first time here in 1973. He was telling all but what we did for the royal family. But what has the royal family did for the Bahamian people?
I will
Have a good
discuss
day.
that right now. Thanks very much, Sparky, for cutting this short. But I know you wanted to read some things before I go to this next speaker. Let you do that, Aaron, and then we go there. Because I want to talk about the king, too, and the king address.
I miss a couple names, right? I miss Ray Minus Jr. posthumously, and I get to find out, is Fred Byron Ferguson the Fred Ferguson, the musician?
No.
Okay, see what I'm saying? We need these lists.
Fred Ferguson will be Admiral. His middle name would be Admiral.
The musician.
Yeah.
Now look at these names, eh?
Yeah. They have a long line of Admiral Ferguson in that Crooked Island family.
That's awesome. But see, look at the history that's unveiled, right? When we're inclusive and we share this information. But also an important name, Carol Leela Hanna, who received the Order of Merit Member Award.
a number of Auckland Islanders' name were called, but Auckland Island as a region, because I know they've been distinguishing islands, especially Long Island, from who brought in governor generals, but no mention of the significance of Auckland's Island and how much persons they have contributed to nation builders.
Absolutely. But not just Auckland Island. Hannah Hasty Times family members and Auckland Islanders, to the point where I almost forgot I was a member of the Hannah Hasty Times family and I was about to call for a commission of inquiry. How all these Hannah Hasty Times people could be on this and Auckland's people could be on this list. But it speaks
volume to that island nation in general. But we have a caller here, and I want to talk about the King's
All right,
speech.
Newry, I want to make 2 points. The first one is, when you're going to make those negative connotation about Auckland's people, call it on yourself. I'm a born Aucklandser, okay? And we don't display those kind of connotation in which you heralding, okay? My other point is, Sparky, don't worry about those people. I've been there from the beginning of the Saxons and other people. Don't worry about them, man. Just relax. Thank you.
And I will say that the Saxons don't value your contribution either. That's why they haven't rewarded you as yet. But just me. I'm just saying that if they did, you would have been recognized by now.
Well, there are some people just niggly. Okay?
You can't be talking about the Saxons like that.
That's the second time I hear the word today. Listen,
can't be talking about the Saxons like that. But go ahead.
Here's what it is to both Sparky and Bremen, right?
Yeah. You're going to placate them now.
No.
No, what are you going to do?
I'm going to use this opportunity to grow something that they shared into an idea that's important for all of us.
You do that.
Which is that ultimately we are responsible for building the legacies of our family members, for preserving it, protecting it, and publishing it to the world. It's our duty, right, as family members. This is the duty of the blood, the lineage, that we have an obligation to build the legacies, to preserve them of our family members. You don't have to wait on the valley to honor your mother.
You ain't waiting on government to honor the mother.
And that's the next point. We don't have to wait on government. In fact, we do ourselves a disservice if we leave that task up to government. In fact, we should provide government with everything it needs to have these events. They should be able to turn to what we have produced, what we have preserved, what we have shared with the public about our family members. And so I want to say, thank you to the government. Remember the early ceremony they had at Southern Recreation Grounds when they had the big thing and they honored the people?
That was real nice.
They honored my grandmother, Una Prosper Hasty Prosper, and my aunt, Veronica Lotmore, 2 women who contributed greatly to the suffrage movement, to the road to majority rule, right? But ultimately, it's up to me to honor my ancestors and to share with the rest of the country why they are worthy of honor.
I read this text here and I want to speak about, again, 50 years plus one day. That's where we are, and building of a new nation, right? And this text says, Mr. Newry, yes, this ceremony was supposed to be about us. This is ridiculous. I'm waiting to hear the bill because no expenses were spared as it relates to the various activities. It's a big party, suck my teeth, all while potholes are increasing daily. Mind you, I have no problem with the bill now. I expected 50 years only comes in a lifetime. The next 50 years, I shall not be here.
Right.
I'm not sure if you could be here, Aaron, but I shall not be here. So I expected a grand ceremony. So I am not vexed at that.
I expected lots of money to be spent, but we still need to determine whether the money was spent correctly. Like if you tell me, look here, we spent a lot of money making public transportation available for people, in working class people, people in the inner city, people who don't have access to cars, for young people to ensure that they could access as many of the events as possible, especially those that are the free events, right? These are the things. You have in free events, but you have them, you say, okay, well, we have to have them in the evening because people get off work, but then you have to coordinate to ensure that public transportation is available for those people to be able to come out and participate in the celebration.
And I agree with you. I have another text here.
Yeah.
And then I want to talk about the King's speech, right? I enjoyed the speech.
You mean
It's short.
my cousin's speech.
Yeah, if he's related to you, I see the relationship inside
the
you.
whiteness.
The whiteness.
There you
It's
go.
in the eyes. The pretty blue green eyes. Someone would say.
Oh, no.
No. Anyway, so good morning, Mr. Newry. Finally, nationally recognizing her contributions, Mrs. Leela Dolores Farquharson Cunningham. That sounds like an Ackland's person too. The first female superintendent of the Bahamas Immigration Department, 1965 to 1999.
Hold on.
The first 3 female officers, originally from Colonel Hill, Crooked Island. My mom deserves it.
All right. Barbara Pierre is also a first in immigration. Barbara Hannah Pierre.
It shows again the contribution that Ackland's Islanders have done for nation building, and there are a number of persons who are concerned, said, why wasn't a nationally recognition for the island in terms of their contribution? But I have another caller here, and then we'll go talk about the King's speech. Did you hear the King's speech, by the way? No.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Newry, and good morning, Aaron.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm still singing that Happy Independence Day Bahamas song in my head. I can't get it out.
Yes.
Song.
That's what it's for.
Man, loving that song. However, I wanted to I don't know if you guys noticed. You noticed the line going into the tattoo?
I heard about it.
Man, that line was ridiculous. I left there like after 9 at night, and the line was still long.
Yeah.
A person trying to get into Clifford Park.
Mm-hmm.
And the persons who, when they came late, couldn't find seats. They was at the point the police was telling them to go back out of the gate. We were trying to figure out, why are you trying to send the people out of the gate? If they don't tow that long line, they deserve to be in the gate.
And if there's standing room, why couldn't they stand?
Security measures in terms of as a trampling and fire. So I'm sure the police analyzed everything and said, no, we have no more space.
I figured that much. But I was saying,
so
the way
did they? Hold on,
it,
cousin. Did they provide seating on the Arawaki side with the big screen, so you didn't make it onto Clifton, but you could go back down to Arawaki and watch what was happening from over there?
All the
I made a suggestion like that to someone that I saw. I said, what y'all need to do in the event that I'm not around for the 100th anniversary, I said, what y'all need to do is use the entire Clifford Park as seating with those bleachers, bring them straight down to just before you reach the road, and allow the stage to be set up on fish fry side where everybody can see what's going on, because there was no way in the world that space has outgrown.
Has been outgrown, yeah.
It's outgrown, but there's no other space available. So use of the entire park area for seating.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I enjoyed myself. I liked the fireworks last night on the bridge. That was beautiful.
Atlantis went all out.
Man, the whole earth was shaking when they went off.
Any of them fireworks say detour sign? Somebody thief the detour signs, ma'am.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, somebody steal them. Yeah.
But thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
I appreciate it. I see we have another caller too. So producer, patch the caller through one time. Go ahead, caller. Guardian Radio AM with CA Newry. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me? Call again once. Call again twice. Go on. So I want to discuss the King's speech.
Yeah.
Our King. First of all, I want to...
Hold on, say that again.
Our King.
No, that's my cousin.
Your cousin. Your cousin is our king.
Your king.
My king.
Okay, then.
And reason why he's our king, and I use that, is because we are a constitutionally democracy.
A monarchy.
Monarchy and democracy, right? Yeah. Where we have a what word did the MP call wrong? Titular.
No, Titular.
Titular.
Yeah.
Titular head, right? Titular head.
Titular.
Okay.
Titular.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that means that based on our constitution, he is our king, and I acknowledge him for that.
No, he's the king of the Bahamas.
Yeah, the king of the Bahamas.
He's the king of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
The Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Yeah, all the rest of that I didn't understand.
Yes. But for that, he addressed us as his subjects.
Yeah.
And give a rousing speech. It was a short speech, and in that speech, clearly the what do you call the embassy here? The High Commission.
Yeah.
The High Commission here clearly sent him some good notes, right? Because he was able to call some Bahamian names in terms of, he called a lady who was the first chairman of the One Family Group, and then he called another lady.
Hold on, Christina Muffin Fernanda?
Call her by name. Our king called her by name. Tell her congratulations. He called two women by name, and forgive me, I didn't remember, but that one stood out because, it's One Family supporter. And I felt uneasy by it, right? And even though I appreciate the gesture, because he made it personable. And one of the critique about us being part of the monarchy is that they do not know where Crooked Island Street is, or Broome Street is, or the people who live in there under frustration. But the idea that our king, the foreign man, was able to call a name as if he understands what Junkanoo is, or perhaps he did some research, that he understands the spirituality, the movement of it, the passion of it, what it means to us as a people. I felt uneasy. I felt as if there was appropriating culture again. Now, that's just me. I try and overanalyze all kind of things. I said, I understand the gesture he was trying to do as a good king, right? And I appreciate the gesture. And I appreciate the High Commission for sending him the notes so he can make it more personable. But certain things I'm uneasy for.
So putting the Junkanoo Museum on the port didn't make you uneasy, but the king.
I didn't say that should be owned by Junkanoos.
Okay, cool.
That is me.
Cool. You my cousin.
Yeah, we have another caller here. Let's patch that caller through. Go ahead, caller.
Good afternoon, Mr. Newry, and good afternoon, Aaron.
Good morning. Good
Listen,
afternoon.
I keep hearing Sparky singing that song, but his mom started the Wally Boys. Listen, as I understand it, the Wally Boys were started from St. George's Church. Okay, from St. George's Church. Bishop Michael Elton, Gus Cooper, Doyle Burris, all of them were the part of that. Also, if you check with my name, Kingsley Clark, who's still with a free bakery, he was the first banner. Yes, Sparky Mom may have gotten the first position of Michael Garrett, but she was not a part of starting the Wally Boys. So Sparky needs to get his history right. But he keeps singing the same song. History has to be correct. And we do need a national costume, okay? As far as the dress code. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much. And I guess Sparky would acknowledge that. Oh, Lord, I hope he don't call back to explain. I understand his point. And like I said, he needs to speak to the Valley Boys and help them honor her.
I want to say, Sparky, if nobody else does, I understand your point as well. Yes. Right? We understand what it is you're saying.
The Bahamas is amongst few countries who have not defined in law certain things about itself. And there has been a call to define the Bahamas moving forward, 50 years plus 1 day.
And from the king say he want to dance with the former Governor General, Lady Marguerite Pindling, I have to ask the question, what dance shall they dance?
Some European stuff.
No, can't be.
They got to be European.
No, sir.
We are ontologically European, ontologically white people.
But I'm actually African. I appreciate being ontologically white and American, but I'm actually African. What is the national dance?
There is none.
This is what I'm saying.
Go ahead, ask.
We got to determine what is the national dance, and will you teach it to the king? You must teach it to the king, so when he come here, he could dance with Lady Marguerite Pindling.
Remember saying a value of us, and we don't have our value of ourselves. That's why we do all these foreign external things. There is not a national festival of the Bahamas written in law. Mind you, we do Junkanoo, but it's not written in law to say this. The government of the Bahamas recognize is the official festival of the Bahamas, and moving forward, all persons in the Bahamas will respect it as such.
Now,
we don't have a national dish.
They have recognized that it's the official festival of the Ministry of Tourism.
But I talk about of the Bahamas, right? Because I want to talk about Ministry of Culture being an independent ministry in general. But I see we have another caller here. Let's patch this caller through. Producer, patch the caller through for me, please. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Good morning, guys. How are you this morning?
I'm
Good,
doing well.
Thank you.
I must admit, that money that was spent on those festivals and the independence celebration was money well spent.
Yes, we have no problem with the money.
Persons around, it's not probably, I'm telling you from persons around the world calling me here in the Bahamas and telling me they'd enjoyed that festival that they saw.
You mean the Bahamians, right?
It's so sad.
Gent. One minute, sir. Hold, pause.
Go ahead.
Bahamians were calling you, right?
Yeah, Bahamians and
because only us matter. Only us matter. Only us matter.
We all came from somewhere.
No, sir. You heard me.
No, pause. Were they Africans? Did Africans call you?
I remember the Africans.
They all are from African descent.
But once they Bahamian, this is our independence.
Yes.
Okay. Continue now.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
I'm saying to you too. I felt very disrespected as a Bahamian. I understand what independence was all about because I was 10 at the time when we became independent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was at the fort during the independence celebration when the flag came down and all of that. I was there. But our younger generation, I think they need to be taught. Not all of them. They need to be taught how sacred the independence were for the Bahamas at that particular time. They don't even know the history that we couldn't even go certain places. We couldn't go some parts over the hill. We couldn't go to the Savoy Theater. Many things we couldn't do. We couldn't own stores downtown. We only could have been servants. Now we are employers and we own our own businesses. And it's sad that when you have Bahamians telling other Bahamians, some Bahamians who don't live in the Bahamas telling other Bahamians boycott the celebration when they're not even in the country. And I think it's really sad. Then you have another French political party telling persons 50 years of corruption. Hey, listen, tell me one country that doesn't have corruption. That's the first thing they got to start off with. You can't just put it all on the Bahamas. We are a small, growing nation, okay? And I think we have came a long way thus far, and I think it's going to get better.
Yes.
Thank you, man.
Yes, and thanks very much for your call. You ended strong there, and we need to celebrate we self.
Hold on, pause. Caller, you made a great contribution. I ain't rowing you, I can row Mr. Newry, because I like
ahead.
you, caller.
Go
But
ahead.
Mr. Newry, I can row.
Go ahead.
Who is responsible for ensuring that young people know the history that they were not alive to experience themselves?
We are responsible to make sure our kids.
And so when they don't, whose fault is it?
It'll be our fault.
Okay, then that's what we need to throw on the table.
But there needs to be a national dialogue, a national
Absolutely.
historic reference of what happened.
There needs to be a national rite of passage, right? Among all of the rites of passage, where you become an adult, you become a greater part of the community because you absorb more knowledge about who you are and where you came from. But it ain't their fault.
It ain't their fault. Call, I see you. But we're going to take this quick commercial break right now. This is Guardian Radio in the AM. We're talking about 50 years we celebrating plus one day. This is July 11th. And what we should be moving toward. Is there space for a third party? Is there, or we're going to be content with the exchanging of the two major parties? Is there room for a different Bahamas? Is there room for changing us from a what kind of system we have now?
Monarchical democracy?
Or to perhaps a republic. But anyway, let's go back to the commercial break. We'll be right back.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Always on the go? Missed the show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Welcome back to Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Newry. And of course, I have Erin Green with me. And we're talking about a sense of place. Erin has a quote that she normally says. I'm going to let her say the quote before I come right to the caller right now. What you're saying about sense?
Us. We have more dollars than sense of self, sense of place, and sense of time. We had a caller last week that said, look, independence, great, but we got to focus on the small things. What about public transportation? And I said to him, let's talk about sense of place. We're in an archipelago, right? The issue is larger than just public transportation. It's about equal and equitable access to movement, to commerce, to be able to move through the islands. And why is it that family islanders are disadvantaged detrimentally in terms of their ability to move about and the options that are available to them? To use the mailboat, you got to go from your island to New Providence and back to the next island if you want to do inter-island travel, which is ridiculous in 2023. There should even be inter-island flights. Not just you could fly to Nassau and then fly back down to another island. But we don't think about it because we don't even acknowledge and understand that we are in an archipelago.
Henry, we have some callers on the line. Producer, patch the caller through for me, please. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Yes, good day. How you guys doing?
I'm doing well, sir. Good day.
All right. Well, I'm listening to the conversation, and one of the things that I would like to point out is that when we have these conversations, so many times our white brothers and white Bahamians are left out. And I think that they have done an excellent job of escaping the poverty line. I think they own the businesses. They have done so much to show how progressive the Bahamas and how much wealth it has. Maybe we need to look at the different type of Bahamians and see what they have done to sustain and mass so much wealth and develop and continue to move forward with so less complaints. I think we need to look at the vast variety of Bahamians. Thank you.
And I've decided that you hang up because I would love to engage you, right? Because history tells you how most of them got their wealth, right? But I do agree. We need to engage and embrace all facets of the Bahamas, which include white Bahamians, Haitian Bahamians, Jamaican Bahamians, American Bahamians, but Bahamians in general.
See, I think there's several categories. I don't like sort of categorizing Bahamians like that, but I think what he's really talking about is family island determination. Mm-hmm. See, because we know where white Bahamians, we know why they seem to be at an advantage to black Bahamians. It's this thing called the transatlantic slave trade and enslavement of people and hundreds of years of subjugation, right? But let's talk about family island determination and what it is that Bahamians that lived and grew on and built the country from the family islands, what it is that they have contributed to the country. That's what...
Can anything good come from the family island?
Buddy, let me run you... Sorry, producer, just pause for a second. I am the prime minister now, sir. Mm-hmm. Can anything good, everything good come from the family island,
If that was true, then the celebration would have been grand on the family island.
I will argue with you. I'm not even going to argue. I'm going to put on the table that what has been produced by the government for independence, all its agencies, whatever, is what is politically expedient to that government. That's it. What has been produced is that which is politically expedient to that government, which is why we shouldn't let governments plan in our independence celebrations, right? It is because what has come out of the family island challenges what is being produced in Nassau, that we don't have a clear delineation and articulation of that which is family island. The central government system will continue to rely on the products of those family islanders and call it their own, as long as they could get away with it.
I hope to bring on Miss Leslie
Miller Bryce.
Miller Bryce back on
Her Excellency.
Her Excellency, because she did her and her team did an exceptional job. I'm very much impressed.
That's why you're bringing them on?
No, because I want to hear what's next, and I want to also congratulate her for what has been produced thus far, and I want to recognize her for that. I enjoyed myself. I see it. I may have some more ideas on what can be done for the rest of the year, because this Jubilee year is an entire year. It doesn't stop with July 10th yesterday. It must continue till December 31st.
I appreciate and I acknowledge your response, and I will put on the table that I am sorely disappointed that in 2023 we still did not find it within us to recognize and articulate within our independence celebrations that we are an archipelagic nation.
We can talk about that.
And all parts need to be pulled to the center for celebrations of this
nature. Ain't too late for that. But I see, producer, we have another caller there. Let's patch the caller through. Let's engage them. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me? Guardian Radio on the AM. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Newry, I apologize for calling back. Well, what I want to say, right? I am an elderly gentleman. There was a time you couldn't go in the Savoy Theater. So these people got to stop with their lies.
All right.
Okay. Thank you very much.
This is an important point. No, he's just saying thank you, Brayman.
Yeah, man. I was a man when we became independent, a grown man. Okay?
See, this
so,
is...
he was 10 years old. Man, they got to stop talking this.
Brayman, sense of time. We got more dollars than sense of time, right? And we have not been able to have a collective national conversation that reconciles, right, accomplishments across time. Like I keep saying to people, if you grew up in majority rule, then the PLP, who technically brought the country into majority rule, will always be celebrated by a generation of Bahamians as those that freed us. And that stays in their mind, right? Fast forward to today, we have the FNM and the PLP. To the FNMs, to some fundamental FNMs, there'll be nothing great about the PLP. They alone didn't bring us into freedom, into majority rule, right? And they will always consider themselves the PLP slayers for the 1992 victory. We have to get a sense of time, a sense of self, a sense of place, so that we can include everybody in the story of the Bahamas.
In the last minute, was this Independence Day celebration less political than usual? I mean, I know that there is definitely more participation of
it was less partisan.
Anglo-Bahamians.
No, it was less partisan politics. It was less the PLP and the FNM ain't playing together. It was more political class. In fact, I can say it. They invited us, the Bahamian populace, to watch the political class celebrate independence in Golden Jubilee style. So while that was good. It wasn't no infighting PLP FNM thing. It was still a celebration of the political class that left out many of those people who have built the country and are building the country.
10 seconds, explain that. Only 10 seconds. What do you mean political class celebrate? But I only have 10 seconds. Give me an example. Give me an example.
The ball, the soiree, all of the high-end events that we know the average Bahamian can't afford to go to. It's not their speed. It was not designed for them. And we really have to take a look at ourselves and ask ourselves, do we as a government think we're independent from the citizens of the country we're governing?
I'm glad the PLP brought back high society and that their balls and government balls, the Governor General ball, the Prime Minister ball, the Independence Day ball. I didn't get invited.
They need to bring back the PMH ball. That's what they need to bring and fix the hospital.
This has been Guardian Radio in the AM with C.A. Newry. We'll continue this conversation moving forward. 50 years plus 1 day. Tomorrow will be plus 2 days. Where we go from here. Have a wonderful day.